Hey, hi there, predictors, sports fans, tarot card readers, people who love nature and want to bring it all together. So, this is the next edition of Competitive Nature, which is about using the cards to take a look, get insight, and maybe make some bold predictions about the great sporting events that are going on in our lives today. And I use my new cards, these Green Wisdom Eco Principle Nature cards called Sustain Yourself. 101 green cards giving us the principles following nature, nature being the map and the mentor and the motivator of sustainable living. And these cards reflect that kind of natural wisdom for natural living. But I just think it's so cool and so interesting to see what Mother Nature has to say about our lives, and whether it's politics or our personal lives, or in this case, great sporting events. And we're in a grand time uh, athletically, at least in America. We have the baseball playoffs, the World Series coming up. We have all that NFL football stuff. Basketball is just getting started. And I use baseball and football, the sporting events, to use these cards for prediction with nature, because a sporting event, it's entertainment, it's an event, it's not life or death. And we can all root for one team or the other. And I think it's fun, it's entertaining and insightful, because using nature, picking a card for each team from an aspect of nature and how that aspect of nature correlates or dominates or competes or cooperates with another team, and that aspect of nature is really revelatory, if I might say. I just love it, and I get insights that I've never seen before. So we're going to start out with the first set of games in this Major League Playoff series, and we had one series. The San Francisco Giants defeated the Cincinnati Reds, and the Giant nature was the flying geese. Now, I know this is all backwards here on your screen, but it looks okay. So the Giants were definitely flying high, and they beat the Cincinnati Reds, who picked, or I channeled Mother Nature in a sense. I picked the so-called blank card. It's just a whiteout card. And the Reds were lights out those first two games. They dominated my flying geese, San Francisco Giants. But then they went blank. The Reds went away, basically. They disappeared into nothing, into the great whiteout called whatever. And the Giants, for the last three games, won the series. First time that's ever happened in Major League Baseball with these 5-game series. So we got to give a lot of credit to the flying geese and their ability to hone in and to fly as a pack and as a team and do really well. They flew high. Okay. Then the other team we followed was the St. Louis Cardinals. Now the Cardinals, the card for the Cardinals in their initial wild card playoff was the Moon Wolf. And a wolf is a dominant canine, we know, and they played the Braves, who were the domestic dogs card in the Sustain Yourself deck, and definitely wolves are the uber dog when it comes to competition with a little domestic kind of dog. And so the Cardinals flew high. So, and then they actually won this last series with the Washington Nationals. So here we are, these two teams, the Giants and the Cardinals. In this next playoff game, which is a 7-game series. So here are the Giants, flying geese, the San Francisco Geese, and here are the St. Louis, not Cardinals, but the St. Louis Moonwolf. Wow, pretty. I mean, what would you even say about these two competitors here? I mean, wolves obviously are stronger than geese, but can wolves catch a goose as a goose flies, or is it a cooked goose? I mean, where is this going to take place? Is this an air match? Is this a ground match? They're so different. Which is more powerful? Is it a feather or a fur? Is it a pack of wolves or a what of geese? Is it a gaggle or a flock or I don't even know what it is of geese. It's a team. It's the Giants. Okay, so anyway, there we go. Now, I wanted to know, I need a little bit more information about this. So I picked another card and for each of the teams, the Cardinals and the Giants. So for the Giants, the card that came out of the Sustain Yourself deck, pretty interesting card. It's the Brain. These are all brains, brain matter, human brain, actually, if you will. Pretty wild. Like maybe I should wrap it around my head and pretend I'm a brain. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. I like that. Anyway, so the Giants are a very, very intelligent team. Very brainy. They use all aspects of their brain, the forebrain for intuition, the forebrain for foresight. They use the left brain for analysis. They use the right brain for imagination. I suppose they use the reptilian brain for something, instinctive knowing. So it's a whole brain team. They're very, very, very smart, savvy leadership and management of the team. Of course, management doesn't play the game. Any of it, they seem to be pretty heady, and their head is into the game. Remember, they won the World Series, I think it was 2 seasons ago. Okay, now let's go to the Cardinals. The new card for the Cardinals is this oxygen card, lungs, which is breath. It's all about the lungs, breathing. It's an aerobic card, so maybe I should put that here on my chest, and I put my brain on top. It could be a really good team if I did all of that. Anyhow, but so here we are, the Cardinals, not only the wolf moon, but air. I mean, they are oxygen, and one of the great, great elements of life. Without it, we're not around, okay? So it's pretty formidable. I mean, there's fire, there's water, there's earth, and there is air. And I'm thinking, wow. Now, the Cardinals, interesting. As long as they have a last breath, they're still in the game. They actually won this last series against Washington. With 2 outs in the ninth, they're losing with 2 strikes on the last hitter for the Cardinals. And all of a sudden, they amass some kind of 4-game rally and win with 1 strike left. As long as they had 1 breath left, they are alive and kicking. They are well. And by the way, they won the World Series last year. So these are 2 really great teams coming together. So when we look at the brain and oxygen, what trumps what here? Well, brains don't work without air. And a lot of air. The more breathing, the more aerobic, the better your brain is going to work and the more brain cells you have. So in a sense, maybe the brain is dependent upon oxygen in the air. So in a way, I would give the Cardinals the edge here. On the other hand, you could have all the air in the world. You could be, really beautiful air. But if you don't have any real brain, any intelligence, any great wisdom, so what? So it's it's a pretty interesting question here. When you put them together, it's kind of hard to say. Well, it's interesting when you put the birds, the geese together with the brain. Maybe the Giants are the bird brains. Maybe that's kind of what they'll play like. I really personally, intuitively don't feel that to be true. But, these are 2 championship teams. I really couldn't call it, but I will make a prediction. Yes, this is all about prediction, right? Which is, of course, prediction fiction. Prediction fiction. So forget that. Nobody knows. It's all about surprise. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Okay. I will make this prediction, however. The game or the series will go 7 games. 7-game series. Wow, that's really brave. But I'll get back to you next week. This is a weekly competitive nature series, and we'll have more about this ongoing competition between these various teams. So stay tuned. I'll be back. Now, before we leave here today, I also did a couple other predictions, a couple other games. The New York Yankees are now in the 7-game playoff with the Detroit Tigers. Okay. The Yankees had a tough time getting by the Orioles, kind of the upstart babies team. That was actually the card for them last week. In any event, The Detroit Tigers, and I talked about this in a video before, this is the star team. I mean, yes, Yankees have stars, so do the Tigers. The Tigers are laden with great, great players. Probably the greatest pitcher in the major leagues now. Yankees don't have that. And one of the all-time sluggers in baseball now. I mean, they are full of stars. And the Yankees, yes, we know they have stars. But again, now I'm picking all these cards face down from 101 of these nature cards, okay? But the card that I got for the Yankees, catch this, is Sunset. Sunset. Now, a star is a sun and a sun, but this is a sun that is setting. I'm thinking for the Yankees, they're old. I'm thinking they're going to ride off into the sunset. I don't think they're the rising star comet bursting out like the Tigers. I think they're going to limp into this series and get toasted. It's their sunset time. Sunset time. They're old, they're enfeebled, they're injured, and I mean, I don't really have anything against the Yankees, but it's true. These are the facts. So I'm definitely predicting the Tigers on this one. I'm going way out on a limb here. I know, prediction fiction, we'll see. Okay. Now, the last game I want to do is my beloved San Francisco 49ers. It's hard to be objective when you do these. The Giants are, of course, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, so I love the Giants, so I'm not wearing my Giant hat. I'm wearing my, what kind of hat is this? It's an African hat. I'm Zumancy. I'm a Zumancian. A Zumancy, does anybody know what a Zumancy is? Zumancy is the gift of reading animals in nature to see what's happening, to see the way animals move and so on, the way nature happens as a sign, as a portent of the future. Okay, so what did we get here? Well, for the 49ers, which is a super cool team, I mean, now this is a rematch of last year's one of the final games, championship games before the Super Bowl, was between the New York Football Giants and the San Francisco 49ers, which is what we're looking at this weekend here. So the the 49er game, or the team, is Spring Birth. Wow, this is like a fledgling bird coming out of this egg. So on the one hand, it's like, these guys are still young. However, they beat the Giants once last year, and they were in the final game against the Giants, which they did lose on the last few plays of the game. So they're not exactly young fledgling birds. In fact, this could be their breakout, a breakout for the San Francisco 49ers, and they could shock the world as they break through the mystique of the New York Football Giants. Okay, not the San Francisco Giants, the New York Football Giants. It all comes together. It's all one thing. So the card I picked for the Giants, again, this is all face down, all random. Anyway, the card for the Giants is really formidable. I mean, the New York Football Giants, really awesome card. The Mountain. The Mountain. And we even have, I stuck the Mount Everest up in here. So these are awesome mountains, Shiprock in New Mexico. They're a mountain of a team. They're a mountain of an organization. They won the Super Bowl last year. They've been to the top of the mountain. They had a dream, and they lived the dream. They won. The 49ers haven't been to the top of the mountain in a long, long, long time. But maybe they're ready to take on the mountain. The problem with the mountain, of course, is not only, I mean, it's a formidable mass of power, but mountains are kind of stuck and rigid and fixed. A mountain is a mountain is a mountain. We'll figure out how to climb that mountain. It doesn't move around. I mean, it has weather, no doubt. But, it's a little bit, and we know the Giants. We know who they are. The 49ers, boy, who knows how they're going to come out flying. So interesting, actually. The San Francisco Giants and the San Francisco 49ers both get these bird cards. Very interesting, which again is all about the flight of greatness, I'm hoping. Anyway, so that'll be really interesting. What would I predict on this game? Well, my heart's in San Francisco. They're playing in San Francisco. This is a tough game. This is a really, really tough game. But I will just say one thing. Two of the stars of the Giants team are now playing for the 49ers. And the biggest mountain of all for the football Giants, a running back, which I think he's back now, is now playing for the 49ers. And he was a Giants guy last year, and he's a big, big bruising back. So maybe we'll give the Giants some of their own medicine will come back. So anyway, there you go, folks. Another series of the competitive nature. And I hope you look at this stuff and weigh in on what you see from the cards, your predictions. And remember, it's all a fiction. It's all a story until it unfolds. And even then, it's his story, her story. It's all story, and we love stories. It's the mythic, magic material out of which we make our own lives. See you later.